Ever opened your banking app after paying bills and felt straight up cooked? Like, where did the money even go? We're out here stressing over credit scores, checking balances, and trying not to go broke in a system that feels completely rigged. We look at these massive corporate bank towers and think, yeah, Wall Street definitely invented this nightmare. But real talk, modern finance wasn't built by suit and tie bankers in New York or London. No cap. To find the actual cheat code for how money works, we gotta strip away the tech hype and travel back 3,000 years straight into the wild sands of ancient Egypt. Welcome to history's biggest economic flex, where the ultimate flex wasn't stacking gold or silver coins, it was locking down insane amounts of wealth inside giant, heavily guarded stone vaults. Back then, before physical coins even dropped, the real bag wasn't metal, it was wheat. If you were a farmer on the Nile, dragging tons of grain around meant getting robbed or watching your crop rot. Total nightmare. So the pharaoh set up a mega network of state-run grain vaults across the entire empire. You pull up to this massive sandstone granary and drop your entire harvest right at the counter. A royal scribe, basically the ancient world's bank teller, would weigh your deposit and lock in your numbers. Then they'd hand you a stamped piece of papyrus. Boom. Your official deposit receipt. Your physical grain got locked away in giant vaults, pooling everyone's wealth into one mega reserve. When you wanted to go buy stuff in town, you didn't haul sacks of wheat around like an NPC.
You just passed that papyrus receipt over, pulled what you needed, and updated your account balance. Mind blown. This insane banking glitch let Egypt fund insane mega projects without ever running out of cash flow. Fast forward a few centuries to Alexandria, when Greek rulers took over and leveled up the game. The Ptolemies saw this grain setup and said, hold up, let's turn this into a global finance powerhouse. They launched the Royal Bank of Alexandria, a full-on central bank connecting branches across the entire country. Every single branch was synced up, trading daily ledger updates using fast runners and riverboats. Which meant if a merchant in a tiny rural village wanted to buy a luxury boat in Alexandria, zero stress. They didn't travel with heavy sacks or risk getting mugged on the road. They just strolled into their local village bank and authorized a credit transfer right on the spot. The scribe debited their local account and credited the seller's account hundreds of miles away. Instant transaction completed on papyrus without moving a single physical grain of wheat. Pure magic. That is literally a cashless wire transfer system working over 2,000 years ago. Insane. We hype up contactless payments and debit cards today like we just unlocked some futuristic tech. In reality, ancient Egyptians were running the exact same ledger hacks on stone desks.
Swiping your Apple Pay or Visa card is just the 2026 version of an Egyptian scribe editing a scroll. The Royal Bank in Alexandria processed millions of these transactions every single month. And just like the Federal Reserve, access to these master ledgers was locked down under heavy security. Now, you're probably asking, how did they price random goods in a market without coins? They dropped an absolute genius accounting trick called the Debon, a standardized metal weight. Merchants placed this copper Debon weight on one side of a balancing scale to set the benchmark. Whether you were buying wheat, oil, or linen, everything was valued strictly against this weight. Here's the wild part. The copper Debon weight almost never left the merchant's box. It was strictly a pricing anchor so people could trade fairly without needing cash in hand. The Debon was basically ancient Egypt's version of the gold standard or reserve currency. Scribes calculated fixed ratios to prevent inflation and keep prices stable across the empire. Even tax collectors used this setup. They weren't kicking down doors to steal your actual crops. They just deducted tax debits straight off your papyrus grain account. Pure efficiency. You could literally buy a house, furniture, or land on credit backed by your grain balance. So those mind-blowing monuments, they weren't just built by manual labor. They were built by ledger finance. An invisible paper network linked every single farmer, merchant, temple, and city across Egypt. Strip away the neon lights and glass buildings, and today's global economy is identical to Alexandria. Wall Street high-frequency trading is just scribes balancing ledgers at hyperspeed.
The tech leveled up,
but the core game remains exactly the same. So when you open your banking app on your phone today, remember, money isn't paper, gold, or code. Money is just trust, locked into a shared ledger. And next time money stresses you out, secure the bag, knowing humanity's been playing this exact game since the pharaohs.